All right, we are live, and the New York Mets are going to give us a baseball season this year. This is going to be a real baseball season. It's not just going to be sunshine, rainbows, and wins every single day, week. You're going to have your losses. You're going to have your heartbreaks. You're going to have your injuries, which are then going to make you look up depth charts in the minor leagues, start looking at other teams' trade pieces, all that kind of stuff. So, Mets, thank you for giving us a regular season to enjoy, for better or worse, this year. And as you're going through all those very fun things I just described, you got to be drinking some Coors Light. We got to believe it's presented by Coors Light. When you're juggling work, family, and life in general, it's easy to feel the pressure, but that doesn't mean we have to lose our chill. Besides, you never know when life's inconveniences can turn into a great story you tell later with a Coors Light in your hand. When the mountains turn blue, it's as cold as the Rockies. Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. And again, I'm watching my Mets games with my Coors Light in my hand, and then Jesse Winker gets hurt, Starling Marte gets hurt, Brandon Nimble gets hurt. All our outfielders that are not like spring chickens are getting hurt. Luckily, they're also not the golden child. And you just drink your Coors Light and chill out. Everything's gonna be all right. This is baseball season. It's just how it goes. Bumps, bruises, and everything else. So Mets fans, choose chill this season and then reach for Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door. Visit CoorsLight.com/believe, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. And while we're talking about drinking some beers, Barstool at the ballpark this Saturday. Mets Cubbies got ourselves a little battle of the first place teams. An absolute incredible series, as it turns out. We also have the Knicks game right before. So go tailgate. We're going to be tailgating there with our Coors Lights. Head into the K corner if you can. We're going to be drinking some Coors Lights there as well. Watch the game. Roll into the Mets game. Battle of the Titans. And then you get 3 hours or to the seventh inning, all you can drink beers. $18 food voucher. Edwin Diaz bobblehead day. Watch an absolute great matchup of teams. Actually, wait, I should have looked up the probables. Do we know the probables for Saturday?
Clay Holmes throws Friday.
Tyler McGill.
Yep.
And I'm going to take a guess. It's going to be Cade Horton making his debut for the Cubs because he's being called up and it's TBD. So
who's he? Is he good? Is he like
their top prospect? Yeah.
He could be the shittiest guy in the world, Clem. Anytime they call somebody up to face the Mets, it's never good.
That's true. That's perfectly said. So, and Tyler McGill is officially the unofficial pitcher of the Barstool the Ballpark, again, for better or worse. So, Barstool the Ballpark, I know we've been selling a bunch of tickets this year. I think we've already hit more in this game than we hit for like a chunk of last year because the team and the outlook and the vibes are so much better. So, go get them now or else, because I know they're selling a bunch of the sections right around there too. So, get them before they're sold out. Barstool at the Ballpark. Have them on the socials if you want the link and all that good stuff. All right. So before we go ahead, let's look back at all we just had in Metsland. So we could talk the Diamondback series just ended. We'll get a little review of the stadium from Phil, who was there after the Bet Gala, his date with Sidney Thomas, his best friend. I don't even know what you call that. Your meetup with Josh Richards. Our boy Phil had himself a week. However, before that, I just have to go back and let's just remember that Cardinals series, and in particular that Cardinals doubleheader, was the fucking worst. You talk about baseball season, that was, hey guys, this sucks. Remember, it's not all fun and games in baseball. How did you make out with this, Kyle, as a new parent that has to weigh in with all the parenting stuff in life to mixed with your orange and blue child that has been haunting your life since?
I hated that it was a split doubleheader, so I had to wait to watch them lose the second game. There's nothing worse than that. And then not only that, then they're switching between Pix 11 and SNY. You trying to figure out where you're going to watch the game. It was just, and then to lose one run, both games, it just felt like inevitable. But we haven't lost a doubleheader, like a sweep like that in a while. So I feel like on one hand, it was just a bad day of baseball. And on the other hand, it was surprising. It was a wake-up call, which I guess they needed to head back to Arizona.
Yep, that's a fair point. Philip, how did you handle all that as someone that, as we saw last night on the stream, has a little bit of a different way of reacting to sports and events?
Well, it's May baseball, so you can't get too high, can't get too low. Sunday sucked, and outside of Tuesday, a lot of our recent losses have been those one-run losses late in the games that feel like an extra kick to the dick to make you feel like it's 2 losses. That's why you look up, you're like, oh, they're still in first place, still playing really well. But every loss just feels like such a fucking, like, just, it hurts.
It's a double-edged sword because
Yeah.
the team's so good that you feel like they should win every game. So when they do lose in that fashion, it just hurts all the more because you're like, they should be taking these games. What about you, Clem?
No, and no, you guys said it perfect. And the fact when you lose, it like feels like an extra loss almost. But then when you look at the standings the next day, and it's like, to quote my guy C3PO on May the 4th just passed, the damage doesn't look as bad from out here. Like, it's like, all right, like we're still in first and we're fucking, one of the best teams in baseball. But man, it hurts. I think the Mets made their fucking bones last year on winning games like that all the time. But they're still winning games like that. They're just losing games like that. Hey, you're in the mix. I look at the differential. That's always what you look for in the standings these days. And the fact that we're, third in baseball, maybe fourth?
We're really good either way. And
Yeah.
we just had a 7-game winning streak like 2 weeks ago. And we're like around 500 since that. That's just the ebbs and flows of the season.
And the people complaining about like, oh, they're not scoring any runs with runners in scoring position. It's like we literally just are removed like a couple games from scoring like 29 runs in the course of like 7 innings.
Yeah, shout out Brandon Nimmo that one game. I picked him up on my fantasy team literally that morning and put up absolute number. He's back on the waiver wire now because I feel like that knee is going to be an issue for him for a long time. I thought we lost him for months, not even weeks. I thought it was months. And he played DH yesterday, right?
Yeah. Also, the offense is 9th in runs scored. So, and we aren't even we aren't even hitting on all cylinders. We're 9th in runs scored.
Yes, that's the thing. And like you said, we're not even hitting. I mean, Baba Yaga is starting to heat up right now. And those, I thought he went for 3 when it first went up in the air. I was like, oh, he did it. But I think this is the biggest takeaway, at least from me. We've been doing this podcast together forever, right? If you lose those games against the Cardinals even in the beginning of May, we would have all been freaking out. We would have been crying, complaining. Whoever was our target, we'd be yelling at. This guy needs to be fired. This guy needs to be traded. The fact we're able to just brush this off, boys, I think it shows growth as a fan base, as a podcast, as men, not boys. We are now Mets men, thanks to Steve Cohen giving us a little bit of confidence. So that felt good. The Diamondback series, same kind of thing. I mean, when we play the NL West teams that, like, especially these funky ass teams that have purple and pink in their colors, I just can't get mad. Like, I don't like losing to the Rockies, but it's like fake baseball to me. I kind of feel the same way. If you have a pool in your outfield, you're just not like a serious baseball team. So it's like we lost a couple games of Savannah Bananas. What are you gonna do, right? Yeah. You can't get upset about that. Phil, how was the experience is it Chase Park now?
Chase Field.
Field, that's right.
On the ball scale, Chase Field is 2 out of 5 balls in my mind. It's just pretty bland. The roof was open, which was nice. Like, it wasn't hot. The game was boring as fuck because we had like 1 hit through like 6 or whatever innings. Yeah. So it's not a game I'll remember. It's not a ballpark I'll remember. But
did you get any of the crazy food that they have?
No, I wasn't really feeling that hungry.
Was there ever a part of your mind that said maybe I'm gonna wear a bathing suit to the game and go in the pool?
No, there was 0 chance of that happening.
Phil, that would have been one of the greatest videos. Is just Viva La Stool just posted Phil doing a cannonball into the pool out of nowhere.
Just like, where's Waldo? Like, you just see him randomly show up. You're like, wait a second.
Phil and Sidney Thomas in the pool together watching Paul, what's his name, Gallon kick the shit out of us. I don't know if Gallon's back. Not
seeing them again.
Is Gallon back, or is he just good against us? I'm not even.
He's good against New York teams. He's good against us. He's good against the Yankees. Yeah. He's putting on a good showcase. That's all I can say.
That was like the fact that they played them like that close together, and he was still able to dominate them the second time around. He looked really good.
Yeah. Has there been any since the last? So we had the bullpen circle of trust or the trust tree last time we were here.
Mm-hmm.
Is any of your opinions or thoughts on any of the position players changed for better or worse since we last checked in?
I mean, Vientos and Nimmo they're in a rut. Like, they always have guys on base and they always fail. Like, the top 3 in the lineup, I always feel confident in between Lindor, Soto, Alonso. Obviously, it's just after that. Like, Starling Marte, he can clean up Tuesday night. We just can't keep doing that.
I was just gonna say. I mean, Marte, you said when we got into the show that he was hurt. He's not hurt. He's just like
He's
mentally
old.
broken.
Yeah.
He had no plan going to the plate with the bases loaded. Like he just watched every single pitch go by. He's getting beat by the fastball. Our 4-batter, no matter who they plug in that spot, I'm not confident in at all.
It's almost like the 4 spot and then just the DH in general. I said the Mets DH is haunted because they were born as a National League team, and the baseball guys are like, you should not be allowed to have a DH because that's the only reason you have a team is because they want a National League baseball back in the city. But man, you said it. And honestly, when I asked that question, it was just to see if everyone else was in the same spot with Starling Marte. Because I mean, Twitter was going fucking apeshit off of those pitches, the 3 pitches, just fucking. That was Vogelback in his darkest days with those 3 takes, right?
They were right down the middle, and they were all different pitch selections. Like, well, what are you looking for then? If you're waiting for a pitch, how can you not swing at any of those 3?
It's like I get like Winker was hurt, so we had to, and Beatty wasn't up there, I guess. But like he can't hit right-handed pitching. Just only playing versus lefties. Yeah. That's the only way.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it was like, oh my God, what are they going to do now that they have McNeil back and Alvarez back? It's like things are going to work out. The baseball gods will injure the people that make it. And now McNeil is playing the outfield. Does anyone else feel like McNeil has a little extra hitch to his step? Like I feel like he's getting. I mean, you figure he is going to slow down as he gets older, but I feel like he's running kind of funky. And I'm like, is he hurt? But he just doesn't seem right out there. But I'll tell you, I'm happy he's out there instead of at second base because the other guy from the other side of things, I just feel good about Acuna. He's at second base and he's at the plate. I know he's going to try to make contact. He has the speed to make things happen. And, the glove is slick when it has to be. So there's some things like about the fielding. He's not 100% crisp yet, but it's like him and Lindor is my double play combo. I feel so much better than McNeil, who's just slow and not just fielding the ball and getting to the ball, but even his throws, everything just feels long and excessive, right? There's something lacking there.
Well, you should feel good about him because he is the NL Rookie of the Month for the month of April.
That is true. Thank you, Max Scherzer, right? That was the Scherzer deal. So thank you, Max Scherzer, for your time. Thank you, Steve Cohen, for telling Max Scherzer to get the fuck out of here. And we were going to rebuild, even though it turned out being not nearly as much. Rookie of the Month. And then was Alonso Player of the Month for the month of April, right?
He was.
So there you go, boys. Couple guys improving their, contract negotiations. One much, 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 much sooner than the other one. So all is good in that side of the world. Anything else from the Diamondback series that you guys want to touch? Because I don't really.
Soto this month is hitting 356. I just made the video. I already forgot the number. 356 with 4 home runs and 8 RBIs. And I don't know how this came to be, but this picture was posted of him in the bullpen. Like he loves being in the bullpen, loves hanging out with those guys, especially when there's pitching changes in between innings. He kind of got a little Manny Ramirez in him in that sense. And somehow that turned into he's non-binary and autistic. So now everyone's calling him Juan Binary. And the second they started calling him that, he started mashing home runs. You can't make this shit up as a Mets fan. Like, you truly never know what you're going to get into heading into the season, but I sure as shit did not know that was coming.
So when you showed that picture, Phil leaned back in his chair, and I'm like,
because I knew where he was going with it. I knew what he was saying.
I was like, there must be something going on the internet that I just have completely missed, and turns out that's exactly what I missed. So, Phil, I guess in your little corner of the internet,
I've seen it all.
Going on like crazy, huh?
Yeah, it's good. It's spreading like
wildfire. Putting him in front of flags, Clem. It's like it's a whole movement. Last year we had the Gay Mets. This year we got Juan Binary.
You know what? Juan Binary lead the league in home runs. I don't care. Yeah. He has 3 multi-home run games as a Met, who apparently is
insane.
Juan Binary is better than Juan Feebleness or whatever Frank has been calling him, or Juan So-So.
Yeah, Juan So-So. And Frank last night, I was like, Frank, like. He's like, I'm tough on these guys. I'm like, you're like, he has 3 multi-home run games. I'm like, Lindor was batting like 160 at this time of every other April into May. And this is the guy you're going to pick a fight. This is the problem with a guy like Soto is it's just the unrealistic expectations because he's fucking incredible, but he's not your traditional, like, if you sign Aaron Judge, you're like, hit home run, big man. He's not that. He can still hit the home run, but he does the other stuff that is so fucking important that has made Pete Alonso the player of the month, right?
Yeah. I think I made the comparison once before, but it's kind of like a little LeBron in him where it's like he takes his walks, he drives the ball in the gaps. Like he hits at 114 miles an hour every time he makes contact. And it's like those things you just overlook for whatever reason. Like he's so good at doing all of those things that you're just like, do something new. Hit the ball 800 feet. Otherwise, we don't care.
And he was robbed of a home run in St. Louis. He had another one that looked like a home run and wasn't. Like,
and he's had like doubles that could have been a home run with an inch more. So that stuff, the floodgates will open. Like, you look at the BABIP and all the regression and all that kind of stuff. It all comes home to roost. So it's going to be, it might come to the Subway Series, which is much closer than I realized. What is it? A week
next
and a
week.
half away?
Yep.
Next week, right?
Yeah, next week.
So, and that's going to be, and it's in Yankee Stadium, the first one. So that's going to be the Boo Birds and all the they're going to be coming up with names that even Frank the Tank wouldn't call, struggling Met. It's going to be very, very interesting.
You think they're going to be creative?
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. Frank, I'm saying like, he's going to be throwing curse words in the name, or Frank doesn't really curse as much. He keeps it PG at least.
John from Maspeth will probably have marinara sauce all over his stomach.
John from Maspeth, I saw he chirped him in the replies about him being like a low leverage guy, and then Juan Soto just hit 2 home runs down his throat. I don't even know. Is he a WFAN caller?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was the one.
Stadium. It's so weird. He goes and sits in the chop shots.
He's the guy who went to the stadium and
when we signed him, he went to the stadium. I was like, "Hey, Juan Soto, this is your home now. Don't fucking complain."
Yeah, the South. Let me go to the South Bronx. Let me tell you guys, I once went to the South Bronx. My father-in-law is a fireman, so we go to firehouses to get like shirts from other firehouses. So he's a Yankees fan. We're like, perfect. We'll get him the Yankee Firehouse shirt that's like a couple blocks away. I felt like I was in the wire, basically, and not by the harbor either. It was like fucking the low rises and shit. So yeah, the South Bronx. Let's not throw stones at the chop shops, especially now that Uncle Stevie land is on its way to being built there. But that next week is a whole other thing. So yeah, for the people listening, KFC isn't on this week. Kevin needs to come on next week because I just need his Yankee vitriol and hate to just keep us going. I worry about Phil just being off the chain by himself. I don't know what he's going to say live on a podcast.
I mean, last week I missed the episode because I had Dave needed me and Sean to get him to LeBron stats to use for the rundown. Like for literally like 2 hours, me and Sean was looking for anti-LeBron stats to Dave had an agenda.
You said I have to go do something for Dave, and I'm like, that could encapsulate anything on the fucking
Well, then I saw the two of you with like the sit down of the rundown. It was just the two of you. I was like, oh, that must have been what it was.
No, that was just I was actually the rundown, so I went over to the Four Seasons. He was staying out to do it.
That's our boy Meek Phil, aka Bet Phil, the Bet Gala.
The Bet Gala was awesome, by the way.
Yeah, Bet
Gala.
The
DK Scottsdale, that place, incredible. I saw the Knicks come back from down 20 there. That was fun. Hug Josh Richards, Sidney Thomas. That was a fun picture. Saw the Mets win a 5-4 game, even though Frank thought it was 7-5 at one point. So, really fun place.
It looked awesome. I was jealous, and the weather looked great. Sidney Thomas looked great.
You won the bet too, right? Didn't you come in second on the whatever?
I won $4,000 from the free to play pool. Yeah,
yep. That's amazing.
Because the A's walking off the Mariners, it's like a 4K swing between me and Jack McCarthy. So,
wow, the A's walking off the Mariners.
Yeah.
God bless you, Phil. God bless you so much. People calling Meek Phil the new Tommy Smokes. I said no, he's the new Big Cat. He's on the rundown, holding his own with the boss man. It's been incredible to watch. Not a surprise to anyone who was a Meek Phil person day one here. We gotta believe. But yeah, speaking of DraftKings, shout out DraftKings. They are the best, and baseball is back. There's nothing like getting to a baseball game, especially. Oh, excuse me. We're not going to go DraftKings. We're going to go Game Time. I'll give you guys DraftKings in a little bit. That was just a little taste there. Baseball is back. There's nothing like getting to a baseball game, especially last minute. Luckily for me, I always use Game Time, the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. Meek Phil got to go to a game in Arizona. Doesn't really know, how the Chase Field stuff works. Just go on Game Time because Game Time makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the app actually go down the closer it gets to showtime. I was looking at tickets for Celtics Knicks there. So if you want to bing bong over to Game Time before you head out to Barstool Ballpark with us, They got tickets down to $613 a pop, which honestly, that's about half as much as I was expecting to get in price between Knicks fans, New Yorkers, and Bostonites. I don't know, whatever they are, just to see the Knicks, how many points they can come back from. So I was looking at Knicks Celtics, and I saw the $613 a pop. So you can put those savings in your back in your pocket and spend them at the ballpark on a hot dog, a new hat, or some good old-fashioned Cracker Jacks. What are you waiting for? I'm going to buy my Knicks Celtics tickets now with Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account and use code BELIEVE for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code BELIEVE for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it? Game time. Moving on along. I just wanted to add this into the pod today. Our boy Tim Healy announced he is going to the Boston Globe to cover the Red Sox as the Red Sox beats guy. No offense to Tim's great work or his employer at Newsday. That's a pretty big jump up right there. Boston Globe Red Sox guy. That's about, there's probably like 3 to 5 jobs in baseball that I'd say are in that level. And he just got one of them. So that's awesome. He's a New England guy, I know.
Yeah.
Is he a Red Sox fan? Like he was a Red Sox lifer?
Maybe.
His post made it seem like it was. He's like, I'm heading home to cover the Sox.
Jason Vargas was happy to see him go. He's smiling somewhere.
Dude, so Tim Healy's been around since 2018, I think I read, right?
Yeah.
7 years. So he covered some weird crap. I mean, basically, it's, I think, about as long as the podcast, as long as we've had the podcast, right?
He missed the dildo Mets, but he was there for Jason Vargas.
Time traveler, Jason Vargas, that entire saga. By the end, Jason Vargas was like our best pitcher that year. Remember that?
And we traded him for Wilpons' son's like roommate or something?
Yeah, his roommate. It was like a backup minor league catcher.
Austin Bossert. Yeah, that never made the majors.
Oh, he didn't make the majors? What a shock.
He didn't make the majors.
What a shock when a Nepo trade didn't make the majors.
So I don't know, man. I just wanted to shout out Tim Healy. I don't know if I should say this in case anyone else is listening or watching, but I think he was my favorite beat writer. I just like the way he wrote. I like the style of his tweets. He's the one who said Edwin Diaz's song in 2020 when there was no one saying, he's like, guys, I just heard Edwin Diaz's bullpen music, and it's gonna, like, when Citi Field is full of fans next year, it's gonna be hopping, it's gonna be crazy. And he fucking called the shot. It's unbelievable. It made us look like geniuses because we did a podcast on it. I remember we listened to Blaster Jacks and Timmy Trumpets the first time, and we were fucking fist pumping like it was DJs at 2 a.m. And I don't know, man. Tim Healy was a real one. We still have good guys. I like the Como. There's some other guys who are decent out there. But like I remember we had Mark Carrick, who was a good beat writer for The Athletic. Now he's like a big time editor there too. But I feel like we lost a good one there. And if fucking Carabas gives that guy any shit, I'll kick the shit out. I don't care. I don't care how much muscles he has.
Take care of him.
But yeah, Tim Healy, shout out to me. Dude, Phil, I forgot all about the Jason Vargas stuff. Like,
it's the only thing I remember from it's the only thing I remember Tim Healy for, honestly.
Tim Healy,
he was so fresh to be in the clubhouse to have to deal with that. So the fact that he turned it around and was like so successful, like the other, sometimes you get a bad relationship with one player and then the rest of them ice you out. Not the case.
Yeah, exactly. That was the Mickey Callaway years. I just Googled to see. So that was his second year on the beat. He had a fucking player threatening to knock him out. You got to be good at your job, or you got to have to invoke that kind of emotion. You got to be doing something, right? He actually, when we went for the Mets, when we were invited out with Timmy Trumpet, when he came for the Edwin Diaz stuff in 22, I talked to him for a while, and he seemed to be a fan of our stuff. So anyone that's a fan of our stuff, I'm a fan of as well. And he had some good stories about like just the differences pre-Wilpons to now, or pre-Cohen to post-Cohen, and just the whole vibe of everything, as well as covering the team and all the good guys there. So shout out Tim going up to Boston there. Moving along, we have, like I said, Barstool Ballpark on Saturday. We have the Cubbies. So Phil,
sorry.
Okay, go.
Shay's Parking Lot in the comments. Shout out Shay's Parking Lot. That's the guy that was wearing the Gary Keith, Ron, and Howie Death Row shirt that they kept putting on the broadcast that Gary said that he loved.
So I meant to go back because I was out, but I know it. I saw the tweets. I saw the picture. people were saying that they showed it a couple times on the broadcast. That
multiple.
He's had the shirt for a while, and he lives in Arizona, or I think around Arizona, so he can go to the game. So whenever he goes, he's like, I'm rocking the shirt tonight. And this year they happen to really be fired up about it. So let me see if I can share the picture for those that missed it during the game.
While you're looking for it, that is the one shirt that we put on sale that they didn't send to the office. I thought we were going to get them, didn't buy it myself, and then we had to pull it down. And now it is the one regret I have out of any merch we've ever gotten. Like, that is the shirt.
Yep. Pabs, I don't know if you can share it on the YouTube for the people watching on YouTube here, but it's the Gary, Keith, and Ron and Howie death row shirt of the four faces. And we had it. So we kind of we didn't really allude to it that much on the pod. We were just trying to keep it classy, but this is the story with this all. I'm just going to who gives a fuck now. I think that came in 2020. Did I read that right? We had this in 2020. So it must have been before the season.
Yeah, that's when it was in the store for the tweet. Yep.
Yeah. We put it up in the store. And usually with these things, when it's has people's real people's faces or logos and stuff like that, we know we might get it pulled at some point. I was told that Gary's wife wrote us an email within the hour and was like, take these down. If you don't, I'll have to pursue lawyer action, which is why it bums me out, why Gary seemed to like them so much. I know for a fact it wasn't the Rose family, because Alyssa Rose was like, I just bought 5 of these.
Yeah, she has.
They're hilarious. If your dad is on a t-shirt like that, you would have to buy that, right? The entire family would have to buy it.
Especially when it's it's not like it's Keith or Ron who have had merch in the past. They don't really get a lot of opportunities to get the shine. Why not embrace it?
And I know Gary, Keith, and Ron had the t-shirt company. I had multi. I think I had 3 Gary, Keith, and Ron shirts back in the early 2000s. That's when they, I think, released them. So maybe consider as a competitor. I don't think they're still doing stuff. They could be wrong. But I always felt like Gary had always throws shade towards the 7 line, and I feel like it's a merch thing. So maybe, I don't know. But listen, those shirts are awesome. I'm not I'd love to put them back on sale. I feel like our relationship or our merch department has changed a lot since then, so I don't think I could even get them approved. And at this point, I don't know if you can throw it back on sale after the legal action has been thrown. I got to look up statutes. I only know is bird law, so I don't know exactly statutes and t-shirt law on what I can and can't do. So I'd love to put them back up, but I think those are just one of those shirts that if you struck while the iron was hot and just happened to go on Twitter when we posted the link, it's kind of like the Riley Reid OG shirts where there was 12 of them. I think we sold 3 onesies for babies, which is a terrifying thought all these years later. Those babies are 4 or 5 years old now, right? And they can walk and talk, which is horrifying if they go through there.
Thought of that being printed.
But yeah, shout out Shea Park. He has some old school, great old school Nintendo and 80s and 90s retro stuff in his house that he shares. So shout out him for wearing that and getting it on the broadcast. That was great to see. I love when Barstool merch makes it on. Someone was like, those were on. He's like, I was like, yeah, those only were up for an hour or so. And someone's like, how long was this one on? And it was the one of Steve Cohen and Ghostface. And I was like, holy shit. We have had some interesting shirts over the years. I remember I had the Eli Manning double middle finger shirt that I put up that night on Monday Night Football. I think it was down within 45 minutes. The Manning Media Machine, they are not letting anyone else make $1 off of their Golden Boys there either. So that was incredible. Great stuff all around. I mean, Keith doesn't even know that shirt exists until that broadcast. We had Keith Hernandez in Mets uniform smoking a cigarette for years in the Barstool store. Granted, we weren't the size we are now, but that was great. I love seeing that on the broadcast. And anyone, if you guys ever get on TV wearing Barstool stuff, hit us up. Definitely would love to plug in on the socials, because that's what it's all about right there. Anything else from the D-back series? I don't want to jump ahead if you guys have anything else. I think it just was kind of a whatever series. Yesterday got the taste out of my mouth from the Gallon start, right?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, we've been 500 or so since that 7-game winning streak, and that's what it is. We're not going to go on a 7-game winning streak every week.
Yep. Exactly. Well, I would love to start a new one right now, and we're starting with the Chicago Cubs. I'm not going to say we're going to win 3 in a row against the best team from the NL Central, but I'm not going to say it's not going to happen either, because the way this team is fucking just playing all around. Clay Holmes versus Jamison Taillon on Friday. If it's played, because it sounds like Friday is going to be a fucking monsoon outside. Saturday, if they drain the field enough, we might have a day-night doubleheader for that one, I would imagine, depending on the morning if Friday does get rained out. And then, so that's McGill versus, what's the guy's name, Phil, the prospect?
Cade Horton, most likely. It's not official, but he is joining the team. I'd imagine he's going to start Saturday.
I'm going to ask this to you, Phil, as just a pal, too, and for anyone else out there in the same situation. Cade Horton, is he, if say my fantasy team sucks at pitching, is he someone that I might want to add here? Or is that the level?
Yes, he is.
Okay, so Cade Horton is on the Phil ad drop list. He's on the ad list for.
He's very high on the ad list. He was their 7th overall pick in 2022. So, okay. 1.24 ERA in 6 AAA starts this year.
I always feel good about a guy named Cade too. You know, that's a baseball name right there. Cade or Horton. It's Horton, like Tim Horton.
Yes.
Okay. And then on Sunday, which is a 12.
The Roku game. Happy Mother's Day.
Oh, that's, you know what? That's probably for the best. Because instead of searching around for Roku, I'll just be like, I'm just going to listen to Howie and I'll just watch on the app instead of basically just turning my body off for 3 hours as my wife has to chase the kids around. We have Canning versus Boyd. Let's see. I'm going to say Oil Can Boyd, Matthew Boyd. There we go. 2.75 ERA. Cubbies can hit though, right? I know Tucker's been.
They have the best lineup in baseball currently. Obviously, it's like only May, but they lead the league in runs scored. There's really not many dead spots in their lineup. Obviously, it's going to be highlighted. Pete Crow Armstrong is playing out of his fucking mind.
Yep.
It's going to be a tough weekend. Going to be a tough series, but I mean, we're really good too. We play well at home.
Yeah, that's the truth. I forgot about that. Our home record is outstanding.
The one weakness of the Cubs that's stopping them from being better is their bullpen is fucking horrific. Ryan Presley had an inning the other day. It was like the 12th inning where he gave up like 7 runs. That's their closer.
With no outs. He's the most runs without an out, I think, like ever in a very long time.
Not sure what the ERA got moved up to after that, but it's not good. So that is 1 week. If you keep the game close versus the Cubs late, you'll have a good chance. They play a lot of 10-9 games, so it's going to be what it is.
I mean, it's like a immovable object versus the unstoppable force because our ERA is great. So this is kind of like the litmus test.
Yeah, the best ERA in baseball versus the best most runs in baseball.
Yeah.
I'm looking here right now. So I mean, Kyle Tucker, he leads the team in average home runs, RBI, on base percentage. Ian Happ is just a pain in the ass right now. It looks like he leads the team in hits. Pete Crow Armstrong, I think we're all in the same boat here. We liked Pete Crow Armstrong. Again, I liked him because he had the word crow, and I go, caw, and just being silly. With first-round pick, right? He was a first-round pick out of high school at that. But listen, we can't just cry about every single time the Mets trade a prospect. The Mets have hugged 1 billion prospects, and they all fucking suck. And they finally trade one away. And the thing about Pete Crow Armstrong is we knew he had the defense. We knew he had the speed. It was the hitting and then the fucking power, which he has not.
The power's come out of nowhere. That's like the one thing that's really surprising.
That they're like, how could this trade really fuck us? And it's like he puts it all together and gets power. And as of right now, like first home run, second home run, third, I'm like, all right, you're just kind of leaning into one. Then fourth and fifth, I'm like, all right, it's still early. After 9, I'm like, oh shit, this might become a problem.
But also at a time where we don't have an actual center fielder. So it's like, wow, that guy would have been real nice to plug in there.
That hurts.
The other good thing is, like, would we have given him the rope to like develop because he wasn't that good of a hitter his first 2 seasons? Like, would we have been like, okay, maybe Pete Crow Armstrong develop into something here? It's like probably not.
And that was it's like, who do we blame now for the Pete Crow Armstrong train? And it's like Brody was no longer here at that point. He might have been drafted under Brody. Is that right?
2020, yes, he was drafted under Brody.
So he was drafted under Brody. Now, it's not Jared Porter, who is also known as
the Sex Pest
on this podcast, the Sex Pest as well, I guess you'd call him. We have to blame the alleged drunk driver, Zach Scott, for this one, right? Because we had like 7 GMs in like 12 months, it seems like, at one point.
So The Athletic actually had an article on that. The names that the Cubs wanted at the time for buyers included Matt Allen, who's just now starting to pitch again after being MIA for several years, and they liked Mark Vientos. And Mark Vientos is also a guy the Cubs tried to get for Wilson Contreras the year after. So those are some names that were shuffled then. The other thing is, we're 4 years after his trade. If it takes 4 years for a trade to burn you, that just shows you it's worth it to trade prospects.
Yeah.
My issue with that trade deadline will always be they half-assed it. Baez was the only bat they got when they needed to get like 4 more bats. We were giving out bats to Brandon Drury, Albert Almora, like
Made no sense.
Michael Conforto had an OPS in the 600s in the middle of August. Dom Smith won a year-out home run. Like, they needed so many more bats, and all they got was 1. And he was injured for like 15 days,
I
too.
felt like they were just like, Lindor's sad to be in New York because the fans are being mean to him. Let's go get his best friend, and then like 2 of them will play better. That's like the best stretch that Javi Baez had since.
They got him paid. Javi Baez had play discipline for the first time in his life.
It's crazy. Thank God we didn't re-sign him. I was shouting from the rooftop because Frank, I'm sure it'll be revisionist history. He wanted Javi Baez. I was like, you're out of your fucking mind if you think Javi Baez is worth extending a long-term contract to.
That's the craziest part of all the revisionist history of it is Javi Baez was really fucking good here.
Yeah.
He had an 886 OPS, and in 47 games, he put up a 2 WAR for us. And yeah, 9 home runs, 299 average. I'm pretty sure like they compare his stretch as a Met
to Cespedes.
Yeah.
And it's because, like Phil said, instead of having all the guys that we had in 2015 that got us to the World Series, he had a bunch of dog shit like Conforto and Dom Smith. And there's a couple names from that team that it's like, oh, I forgot about that. Was that the Pilar Villar?
Yes,
team?
but VR was good. Pilar was awful.
Yeah.
But it's like, we traded for the Cespedes, but it's like there was no Juan Uribe, there was no Kelly Johnson, there was no even Kirk Neuenheim showing up randomly to have a 3 home run game. Like,
yeah. And then you also didn't have like 7 aces like you did back in 2015, where you have all these guys coming in, and Zach Wheeler wasn't even healthy. Let's see the 2021 Mets. The 2021 Mets rotation, boys. Number 1 listed, Marcus Stroman, 10-13, 3.0 ERA. Taijuan Walker, Jacob deGrom, who had a 108 ERA.
Who didn't pitch in the second half.
Yep, he had 15
Taijuan
games.
Walker had an ERA of 6 in the second half.
I love Phil just cooking right now.
Cookie Carrasco, who didn't pitch till the second half and had a 6 ERA.
Yep.
Correct.
Trevor Williams, who was in that trade, Javi Baez, who had played a big part of the year after.
And you have to include the Trevor Williams because we all fucking loved that guy. And listen, I'm not all for I'm happy we traded this Pete Crow Armstrong, but he had, I think, Tommy John, or it was like a serious injury.
It was a shoulder surgery. He wasn't even a top 100 prospect at the time, I believe.
So you don't even know when he's going to come back, if he's going to be okay when he comes back, considering he already had his shortcomings. It's all that kind of stuff. So like, if everyone wants to do the revisionist history, you can. In your heart of hearts how you felt about it. It's like, you know what, this can burn us. But again, it was everyone else who just didn't show up. David Peterson with a 5.5 ERA.
Rich Hill, who was 5 and fly. He was either 5 innings, no runs, or 5 innings, 3 runs, or 5 innings, 5 runs.
So yeah, the 2021 Mets. That was Cohen's first year with the team, but I mean, at that point, he's such a new owner. You can't really he hadn't gotten to where it is now, where it's a machine. That was very Wilpons, where it was like, we did the half measure, got the one guy, and instead of filling it in with enough guys to fill it out into a real team, the Williams was a good part. I remember we were very happy when we got Williams because he could start, he could also do some long relief, and obviously he was very good for us.
And it was going to be a bigger trade too. If not, they found out deGrom was going to be out for the season, maybe an hour or 2 before they actually did the deal. Well, they had a whole bigger trade lined up that included Chris Bryant, Craig Kimbrell. I forgot the other piece, and it would have sent out Mauricio, I think maybe Alvarez. I forgot the whole thing on it, but we would have had a bigger trade if deGrom didn't get hurt. And it always goes back to that. And you always say it's they either should have gone all in or did nothing. And if they did nothing when they were in first place at the trade deadline, everyone would have been so pissed at the time.
Well, I mean, we were pissed in 2022 when we didn't get more bullpen help.
Yeah. And that was a team that needed it.
Yep.
I'm looking here right now at the 21 team, the bullpen. So Diaz, 3.45 ERA, 32 saves. So he bounced back, obviously, in the full season after 19, which was the
Trevor May,
Familia, Miguel Castro, and then I forgot about these numbers. Aaron Loop, 6-0 with a .95 ERA in 65 games, and everyone lost their minds when he left us the next year. And then
you're missing another lefty on that list. He won the World Series last year.
Who's that?
Tony Banda.
Tony Banda, yeah, the Banda man. this year was fucking like, this was the last full-blown cracked out Mets season.
That was the last real Mets team.
Yeah.
Yes. LOL
Like 2023 was like bad Mets. 2021 was LOL Mets.
Yeah.
Zeka's there. I'm just looking at these names here. Cameron Maben. I forgot we had Cameron Maben. That was the year of Cameron Maben.
He had cleanup one game, or he had third one
yeah.
game.
That's how the Jed Lowry tweet started. I'm like, congrats to Cameron Maben on passing him on the all-time Mets list, and now it's just every time anyone gets a hit.
And the other part about that year was we didn't have a DH because they got rid of it that year. We had to wait till the CBA. So we had James McCann being garbage in the 8th spot, the pitcher hitting 9th, and the rest of the lineup wasn't that good either, but it just created another dead hole.
There was real consideration. We just wanted our pitchers to hit 8th because McCann was so
Yeah.
good.
There were really legit cases in June where DeGrom could have batted 3rd, and you wouldn't have batted an eye.
Yep.
That was JD Double Davis, went 285 that year. I forgot about Khalil Lee, who I tried to talk into existence. Solid 56 batting average. Travis Blankenhorn. I'm just going to hit you guys with like the names of Mets past.
We're just naming guys now.
We can do an entire episode, and we should try it in the offseason of just like, there's no conversation. We just go name for name as far as we can go.
Or just a sport quiz. Can you name every 2021 Mets?
Billy McKinney. Oh, my God. I mean, and again, these are guys.
Billy McKinney's back in AAA for us.
Oh, my God.
He's back in the organization.
Joan Schwie-Fargus. I never even learned how to say his name the right way.
Jared Eichhoff.
Yeah, and these are like when Tank was cooking with all the different nicknames and stuff like that. So, again, the Javi Baez trade, because I know it's going to get broad. I see it now when we're not playing the Cubs. When they are playing the Cubs, I just don't want. I personally do not want to hear it. Yeah. Javi Baez was like one of the little rays of sunshine that we had, which again then turned into a thunderstorm because he decided to boo New York fans, which no athlete in the history of the world has ever beaten New York fans. It's just a zero-sum game. Julius Randle tried it. He tried it. Reggie Jackson, I think, tried it back in the day. You can't do it because they're just going to boo you, and either you're going to play shitty or – it's just going to be a toxic environment for you, which, again, is why I'm so proud that when all those fucking bozos were saying to boo Juan Soto, all the Mets fans said, fuck you, standing ovation. The vibes are coming back to Citi Field. Hopefully the weather is nice. Barstool at the ballpark on Saturday.
Snakes out in there showing off. Let's go.
Let's go. Phil, I got to also ask, give me is the Pittsburgh Pirates basically Skeens is the LeBron and then there's 24 other guys?
25 other guys, but yeah.
Is it 26 now rosters?
Yeah. We actually on Pick Central, I said, I was like, we got our first MLB manager firing of the year. And I had Clemmer and Hubs guess it. And their first guess was Bud Black. And I was like, no, the Rockies did not fire their manager despite being 6-20-something. And then they got on a second guess, but Derek Shelton.
Derek Shelton gone, which again, so they played Atlanta. So Atlanta might have to face the new manager, like
Don
fired
Kelly
up for a few games, and then we get them immediately afterwards. So we're going to get Skeens on Monday night as of now. That's scheduled starter. Skeens, and then Keller, and then Falter. So those are the three. Is it Dustin Keller? Mitch Keller.
Mitch Keller. He's the one that hit Starling Marte on the hand in September of 2022.
That motherfucker. Yo, Dustin Keller, Jets tight end. That's the dozen brain for you going on there. I haven't thought of Dustin Keller since the moment he left the Jets, and I just pulled that out of the blue.
That'd be like a White Sox Dave moment. It's like, who is the opening day starter for the Pittsburgh Pirates in 2023? You scream out Dustin Keller.
Bailey Falter, 5.06 ERA is on Wednesday, and we have Peterson saying a Holmes. I know they still have McCutchen there. So that's one thing. Brian Reynolds batting 219. Cabrian Hayes 254. O'Neal Cruz 246. 8 home runs. Like this is the team that has a bunch of cool guys that you liked at one point, and they've kind of lost a lot of the bloom. I have Tommy Pham is there, so maybe someone will get into a fight.
Tommy Pham, who just a month ago did the jerk off motion to a fan and got fined.
Yep. So Pirates are the Pirates right now. It's safe to say, right? That's how I'd consider. But they got Skeens, who's cool as fucking hell. So I would rather not face them, but if this will probably be the one time, since I'm not like Phil, I won't be searching out Pittsburgh Pirate games on, MLB TV or anything like that. So we got a little Paul Skeens with us, and I like to see how our offense will perform because remember it was Alcantara. We used to step up and fucking muscle up against guys like that. So we'll see if they can get that done.
Also, while we are on the topics of the Pirates, I want to look up this player's ERA. Colin Holderman has an 8.18 ERA this season.
Okay.
So, yeah, not good.
The anti Peaker Armstrong, where everyone was so mad we traded him, and in the end,
I also pointed out that, like, remember that when Brody traded away every prospect for 2 years, and literally 0 of those guys have panned out. Jared Kalenic, Justin Dunn, Anthony Kay, who I forgot fouled me and caught a stray. Like, every prospect that Brody traded sucks at the major league level. Never panned out. Zach Scott's traded one guy and got a DUI. He turns out he traded away maybe an all-star. Just the way it happens.
It's impressive. Very, very, very impressive. So that's what we have coming up the week ahead. Kyle, anything left on Mets, Cubs, Pirates, anything? I mean, obviously,
Did the Cubs get any DK boost for having the Pope as they've got God on their side now? I mean, the odds of that happening, first of all, just an American Pope in general, but like they're just harping on it on the newscast. They're like, he knows how to deal with hard times. He's a Cubs fan. That's what they said on, I don't know, whatever channel it was on.
Oh, wow. I didn't like that. Yeah, I don't like facing a freshly minted baseball team with a freshly minted Pope behind them. But we are the Mets. We are a whole other bunch of dark magic. So we'll see what wins out there. But yeah, we'll have to ask DraftKings if they're going to change anything, because they say baseball is a marathon, not a sprint. And that's great news for us because there's so many games to bet on. Don't miss a second of the action at DraftKings Sportsbook. From every game until the champagne pops and the trophy is lit, to DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered with same-game parlays, live betting, odd boosts, and so much more. If you've never bet on baseball before, it's easier than you think. Just pick something simple like your favorite team to win a game and make your pick. It's just that simple. And here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers, bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. You can see what Phil's betting online. He's always posted his slips, and you can ride with the Meek man, who's the hottest man in the game right now. Not betting. I'm just talking life right now. Meek is just crushing life. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code BELIEVE. That's code BELIEVE for new customers. Get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. And the Pope, not only is he a Cubs fan, but he is a proud alum of Villanova. So the Villanova Wildcats, that makes me feel good as a Knicks fan. I don't like facing him as a Cubs fan, but I love that we have a Villanova Wildcat as the Pope. And we're going to get into our orange and blue crew. We'll go with the Knicks part of the show now. Pavs, if you want to hop on, you're more than welcome. If not, it's all gravy. But Phil, how are we feeling on this fine Thursday after that Game 2 in Boston last night?
I said on Pick Central today, I am at the point where if we lose this series, I will not mentally recover from it.
Oh, no.
I did not think it would be possible. Going into this series, I wrote off our title odds from like January. I was like, we're going to get this series. The Celtics are going to wax us. I'm not thinking about it. The odds of going up 2-0 in general, forget coming back from down 20 in back-to-back games, was never a thought in my mind. Like, I think we're still like, even odds to win the series? Celtics may be favored. We have to win this series. Game 3 is a must win. I may have got a little too far last night.
So I saw you and Clemmer. You and Clemmer, you guys are mean to each other. Like, I'm not just saying you, like Clemmer, Hubs, the New York office, even when we're not on camera, there's just some things that are thrown around. Like, that's a little strong right there. Like, and listen, I bust my buddies' chops all the time. You guys go fucking hard. And I saw you and Clemmer, you were in his face. I didn't realize after the Knicks won, you just like grabbed Pat's shirt and then just like threw the finger like right in his face.
He thrusted his dick in my face after Tatum put them up 1 with 20 seconds to go. No, act like you've been there before.
Hand up. Didn't see that. I almost got hit by a bottle. I almost got Rico Bosco'd. I almost got the big T treatment because he hit Frank's table, broke Frank's table, and the bottle of body armor went right between me and Jack Mack. So I should have leaned into it and had, Celtics Dave pay me some green. I wish I had done that looking back now, but I didn't give a dick for it.
Broke Frank's table. He just smacked it.
That's curse level stuff, right?
It was cursed because they blew it right afterwards.
Pabs, how are we feeling right now as another tortured Knicks fan? Again, you're like Phil, where you guys were born in the darkness. I had the 90s, and those things have kept me going. The memories of Ewing and Oakley and even Allen Houston against the Heat, stuff like that. You're the guy who, you were raised by Langston Galloway and Marty Collins and shit.
Yeah, like my first real Knicks good memory is I believe Chris Duhon had 24 assists. That was my first team I ever went to. So just as tortured as Phil is, but I'm on the same wave as him, where it went from I felt no pressure in the world to all the pressure in the world, where going into this series, I was just happy to maybe steal one at home. And now it's if you lose this series, it's about as bad as it gets. So we got a game 3, just like Phil said, we got to lock in there. But I don't know. Coming back 20, all the pressure, now it's on you. Now, I don't know.
The crazy part is once they start making a game close, late, that's when I start to get confident.
Yeah.
Because we have the clutch player of the year. We've been winning the crunch time minutes all playoffs. Honestly, all season. That's our identity. If it's close late, I'll always believe we have a chance. We're going to win this game.
And I think, now we're starting to say with our chest a little, but think last year, we're I'm telling you, we could just give Boston, just be a pain in the ass to them. And when everyone got hurt, you couldn't do it. But it's guys, I'm just telling you, we seemed like crazy people. And then, in the end, it doesn't matter. They fucking lost, and they were so dead by the end, it probably wouldn't have mattered anyway. But I think a lot of people have always been there's just, again, I was raised on fearing Michael Jordan, the boogeyman of boogeymans. And it's Jason Tatum's good. It's not Michael Jordan, right? Even the fucking craziest Celtics fan ever could be yeah, he's not fucking Michael Jordan. And even Reggie Miller, a killer, a fucking murderer who has ripped my guts out multiple times. It's he's not that either. He's a fucking awesome player. And then Jaylen Brown, he can't dribble with one of his hands, so I can't fear him as much as I feared Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen back in the day.
And
so
that's our defense in this series is keeping us in these games. It took till game 80 something of the season for Tibbs to figure out the defense, because we were not doing this in the regular season.
No. I tweeted out before the series. I was I've been convincing myself for weeks. Tibbs has just been playing it close to the best all regular season, being once the playoffs come, we're throwing everything. We're gonna be like Rocky, where he starts to fight, fighting righty instead of lefty, and just completely trying to throw the Celtics off. And whatever it is, it's working. It's also working because Mitch is the longest fucking man in the world. Then Bridges, who I feel we're going to need a nickname for Bridges if this continues, because he's not great the whole game. I'll tell you that.
He was 0 for 8.
0 for 8, and then he scored 9 in the fourth?
14
in the fourth?
14 in the fourth.
Oh my God! I thought he had a couple in the third. I wasn't even paying attention, I guess.
Yeah. 14 in the fourth, 0 the rest of the game, and then 2 games in a row. Both Jays get the cookies ripped from them, and ends the game to the defensive stop. And I saw there was a stat where I think he has the lowest field goal percent against in the playoffs so far. So he's obviously killing on defense, as is OG.
Yep.
Yeah, 5 first-round picks. It's what we got him for. I wasn't there in regular season, but this is where you make the trade.
Yeah.
And they had 1 field goal made the last 8 minutes of the game. Yeah. In the NBA, 1 field goal made in the last 8 minutes.
And you definitely know that, 70% 3-point shooting game is coming, where there's literally not a team in the history of the world that would have been able to beat them, because that's just how the basketball works. You have schedule losses, and you just have shot percentage falling losses. That's coming. I just hope it's not coming in the next few games. So I've got to Shaq and Chuck were both saying game 3 is must win for the Knicks. He also said it's must win for the Celtics. And I'm so if you lose, the game series is over for those? It's kind of weird, but I'm with you, Phil. 3, if you win 3, you can start dreaming some crazy dreams right there.
Yep. I love Mitch, by the way. I think it's my favorite thing. Him going to the line, it's electric. I know it's probably stressful for everybody else, but down the stretch when I believe we were 1 away from the bonus, where they still fouled Mitch. Obviously we were going to take him out. Little mistakes like that the Celtics were making, it was bonehead moves. Obviously we're going to take him out the next play when you foul. So now you're just 1 foul away from the bonus, and that's what sent Brunson to the line. There's just some little mistakes by the Celtics that we capitalized on, but Hackman's a ton of fun.
And the shot that Brunson hit over Holiday, shot that honestly, he's one of the only players that can make that shot in that moment.
Yeah. He's
and
great,
Porzingis is a non-factor with whatever illness he has.
You have on that, Phil?
I don't know what it is. I think some mystery illness that he missed 8 games with in March, and maybe it's lingering effects.
Yeah.
But defensively, he's a cone out there.
Yeah.
Like offensively, yeah, he made shots, but he's not. He was a -9.
He's Kyle during Knicks talk. He's just there.
Yeah.
He's there, and we appreciate him.
Yeah.
But, he's
I
just,
turned my mic off. There's nothing to add.
yeah, even Kyle, like when the Giants are playing the Packers, he'll add in a little something as a Packers guy, or even like, hey Kyle, like what was Aaron Rodgers like, you know? But this is not his thing, which is fine. Kyle's a movie guy as well and knows all his other sports. Yeah, Porzingis might be a double agent. Like I'm sure there's some Celtics fans who are starting to think he's a double agent for the Knicks right now, who's helping out his old team. I mean, and like I can't even get too high because it's like we did steal it and we were down 20 both games. But at the same point, like everyone's like, oh, the Celtics haven't hit. They haven't played their good. We haven't played our best either. Like Brunson hasn't played his best. Cat has shot 0 threes or hit 0 threes, I think I heard.
He's only attempted like 1, I think,
Go
in
for
2
2.
games.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, like offensively, we aren't like getting that clean of looks either. Like offensive, we are like very stagnant. It's a lot of broken offensive plays. And Josh Hart's always seems to be there to get the bucket. And Cat with 17 rebounds last night. Like, it's find a way to win. If the Celtics give you a chance, take advantage.
Honestly, just seeing Cat like play like a big man for a while and get some of those buckets and obviously getting those rebounds, I could have just taken that as a moral victory for game 2 if they had lost the game. But yeah, now you're actually playing for something. Now it matters. Now, you know, there's stakes on the table because you've won 2 games, and at the very least, this is going 6. So to go up 2-0, but again, like a lot of the people said last year, like they had a gimme walk to the finals. I felt that way too, and it's like now they have to earn it. And Sean Grande, who's the voice of the Celtics, who I really like, and he's actually I think grew up a Knicks fan. He was saying that like he thinks this Knicks team is better than anyone Boston faced last year, and I think you can make a case the Mavericks because they had Luka, and then they were just meshing so well, and Kyrie was there. But at the same point, like took 2 games from them already, right? So it's like I could definitely see that. I think this Boston team isn't as good. I think the injuries are weighing them down. Tatum and fucking, even though Tatum didn't play in the Olympics that much, but Drew was in the Olympics. Yep. Brown has the knee injury. So there's a lot of shit going on. But Saturday, Phil's going to be streaming on Saturday. I'm going to be at Barstool at the ballpark. I know Pavs and Kyle are going to be there as well. We're going to tailgate, going to try to go to the K Corner, get some drinks there, watch the game. And then from that, right into Barstool at the ballpark. Also, I got to shout out Knicks Film School. I saw them. This is my go-to podcast. This is my Knicks podcast. So if you are a Knicks fan that kind of wants, like, honestly, they have the same vibes as we do, but they also have like the basketball, like the knowledge of the game, like Phil has. So it's like not just a bunch of idiots talking.
I think Timothée Chalamet watches them. I could be wrong.
I mean, if you get Timmy is on a heater right now too, man. Absolute heater. He's watching the game at the iPad
during the Met Gala, right? Yeah.
How do you tell your girl? Sorry, hon, I can't be with you at the Met Gala. I have to go watch the Knicks on an iPad. I guess if you're Timothée Chalamet, you can do that.
How do you tell Kylie Jenner that?
The only other person who could have done that, he's sitting right next to me in this box right there. Sorry, honey, got to go watch Mets Pirates right now. Oh man, Timothy. That's what I'm like. Things are starting to add up. We have like the hottest actor in the universe is a diehard Knicks fan since he was like 6, and he's Timothée Chalamet, and he's cool because again the name. There you go, Kyle. A little movie talk for you.
Man, I already muted myself. I'm ready to go.
When I saw the name Timothée Chalamet, I'm like, well, I hate this guy with all my heart. And Heidelberg would talk about him years ago before I even knew who he was. And I'm like, oh, he's a Heidelberg guy. This guy's supposed to be a real freak. And now I'm like, he's like the coolest guy in the world.
He was locked in on College Game Day with all of his picks. He was pulling them out of his ass, and they were all hitting. Like, he is locked in. He is the guy who treats acting like he treats sports.
Yep.
Yeah. He like gets in front of the mic. He's like, I want to be the best. I want to be on the Mount Rushmore. And he was so locked in that it came across my desk that I saw that he was watching the Knicks game there.
And made it all the way to Kyle's neck of the woods.
There's a video of him doing a fan meetup where he like won a contest with Landry Fields. Did you see that? That's
he was like 6. It was like Tim from Hell's Kitchen found Landry Fields at Grand Central to win like a pair of Knicks tickets, and I'm like, yo, that's a dude right there. That's something again. Phil would have been doing it. Phil probably came in second place in that contest. Phil was in the wrong part of Grand Central. He took the fucking E train in and just missed it. So, I mean, everything's coming up next. We got a fucking Pope on Pope has to be rooting for us, right? I mean, Villanova guy. It's probably us and maybe a little Minnesota because Dante's there. So between whether it's the Knicks, the Mets, pretty much any other New York team that's still kicking right now, well, fuck the Yankees. Gotta believe.
Gotta believe.
I believe.
Watch New Hampshire Granite for Clemmer.
Yeah, go watch the New Hampshire Granite. I made him a fresh shirt. So gotta believe New Hampshire Granite. Rock hard. Get rock.